It's a busy week ahead, Emily, with the Europeans. But before we chat about that, we've just gone past the 1 year anniversary since you were part of the Irish women's four that won that brilliant bronze medal at the Tokyo Games. That was July 28th, just a couple of days ago. So, was it a date that you marked on your own, or even the four of you that you reminisced about what happened that day in Tokyo? Did you all get together and talk about it?
Sure, we're all together at the wrong center training anyways for the few weeks ahead. But yeah, no, I think it was just kind of realizing like the year absolutely flew.
Mm.
And like it kind of so much has happened, but at the same time felt like no time had passed at all. So Josh, we trained away and wished each other happy birthday, happy anniversary, and kind of got on with the next job at hand.
Isn't it surreal to think, Emily? Like 12 months have gone by since you won that bronze medal. Like, where's the time going? Like, could you almost pinch yourself to think that was actually 12 months ago when I was in Tokyo? I won that medal, and just changed Irish women's rowing.
Yeah, like I guess like sometimes it is still a bit hard to believe, but no, it's exciting, and like I really think it's given good momentum for like the women's team going forward, and like the women's team is getting bigger. There's more people joining every year, so like hopefully now over the next 2 years there'll be another few boats going to Paris.
Because that medal was so important for Irish women's rowing, and we spoke about it before. It almost broke the glass ceiling. It was Ireland's first Olympic women's rowing medal, and it's important that medal has a legacy and a knock-on effect. Do you think that it has made a difference to women's rowing here in Ireland?
Well, I think it had been building over a few years. Like I think kind of come 2018 when I first joined the team, like we would have counted ourselves lucky to have two boats at the Olympics, even two heavy women's boats. But like the fact we got three in the end and a medal was just amazing. And like you even look now, like along with like the success that's happening at the senior team, like the under 23 team and the junior team are also doing massive things themselves. So like hopefully there won't be a stop to it anytime soon.
And if you're looking at the Europeans coming up this week, like there's a lot of Irish women's boats going out there. We've the lightweight single with Aoife Casey, the lightweight double Margaret Crim and Lydia Heafe, the women's double with Zoe Hyde and Sinita. You're in the women's pair with Fiona Murta. There's a women's four as well, and then there's a women's eight as well entered. I think that all just highlights the strength of the Irish of the squad that you have right now.
Yeah, and I think as well, like the size of the group is such an advantage in terms of training and like being able to pace off each other. And there's always a good sense of competition and pushing each other on. And we're all kind of aiming for medals at the end of the day. So like the next boat going faster will help you out in the long run too. So it's very good that way, and it's really, really nice to have a big group of girls to train with every day too. It's a really good environment to push everyone on.
So you're entered in the pair with Fiona Murta, and in that boat you won a bronze medal at World Cup 2 in Poznan back in June. So talk to me about that boat and how it came about and how it's going so far.
Yeah, so I guess we a few of us kind of did our own thing this year in terms of like coming back from Tokyo.
Mhm.
Some people went working, people back to college. Like I went back to college myself, so there was a little bit of more breathing space, I'd say, for kind of the first few months of the training, and not as strict on ourselves, and just kind of allowing for a little bit more normal life than we had been having the past 2 years. But yeah, and then it was just kind of once we got the ball rolling in terms of trials again, like we went through the system as we have done every year, and kind of just pinned a few boats that we'd like to try. So like this year, myself and Fiona so far have you never know what like boat we'll be racing in next, but like so far we've raced the pair at the World Cup, and it's a really good challenge as well to like try something new, and whoever like whatever about what happens down the line or in a few years time, whatever boat will be in, hopefully like it's a good learning experience too, and just like get it, it's a good challenge like getting another boat to move fast as well, because like there's different challenges in every boat. So yeah, it's been very like rewarding, almost just kind of starting to see things come together.
Talk to me about those challenges. So, because obviously you hit the headlines in the Irish Women's Four at the last year, you had an incredible year. And besides the obvious difference between the four and the pair four rowers compared to two, like what is the big difference for you as a rower? Like, because the dynamic must be totally different when there's two in the boat compared to when there's four of you.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of more of a case of like I must match Fiona in front of me perfectly. Like if one of us goes harder at one particular part of the stroke, like it'll knock the boat and it'll affect the steering and everything. So it is kind of definitely more of a technical challenge than like in the four when it's a big boat and it's a bit more steady. You can just really just work really hard and you don't have to think too much of the technical side when you're in the race. But there is still a little bit of making sure like we stay clean together and we just keep on working together, because sure if one of us starts to lose one of ourselves, it will have a knock-on effect going down the course. So yeah, no, it's been like enjoyable really getting to grips with like getting it moving and stuff.
And if you can make a pair move well, does that help then if, let's say, you do go back into four, like that you'll have benefited a lot from your time in the pair?
Yeah, I guess like there's two ways of looking at that. Like you could say, had we been in the four, we could have made massive gains in the four itself and like been more together. But then at the same time, when you are in the small boats, it's very good for like getting to feel the boat and getting to find the most efficient way of moving it. So you can kind of look at it two ways. Like there's an advantage to being in both situations, whether you move into a big boat or whether you're in a big boat for the whole time. But I would like to think that if we were to go back into a boat, we've learned a lot about like how we make the boat move ourselves together. So I guess it'd be interesting to hop back into it, but I guess we don't get a choice of that at the end of the day.
You mentioned earlier, Emily, about almost experiencing not real life, but almost reality this year. The fact that it's the year after the Olympics, it's that year before the Olympic qualification starts next year, where you can try new things. Like you said, you're going back to college and so on. But how have you found this year in general, the year after the Olympics, coming off the high of Tokyo?
Yeah, I guess it was interesting, definitely. Like coming to grips with the reality again and going back to being a full-time student and everything definitely had its challenges. But at the same time, like you had so much more time to like see your friends outside rowing, like spend time with family and stuff. So definitely, yeah, there was elements, a bit of culture shock to a certain extent, where you were in a high performance environment kind of 24/7 back to real life. But at the same time, like it's been a really enjoyable year, and like it's really nice to kind of be able to take a step back and realize all the work we put in those years like paid off in the end.
And as soon as you step back, you just step right back in again, because you have the Europeans this week, the Worlds are coming up next month. Before we know it, we're into 2023, which is an Olympic qualification year. So how much are you looking forward to the next weeks, months and years ahead?
Yeah, no, it's definitely really exciting. And I think like as a team, we're building a lot of momentum, and like there's a lot of speed coming from every boat that's training at the centre right now. So I definitely think it's really exciting going forward. And yeah, there'll definitely be a lot of opportunities, even, in the younger categories coming through as well.
Looking at the Europeans this week, so what's the hope, goal and target, and who's the big opposition? Who are the crews that you're looking out for?
Yeah, I guess, when you're around racing for the past 2 years, you do see a lot of the same names pop up. So we would be kind of coming against girls who would have raced in the four back along and everything. But yeah, I think right now, like we've seen the entries and we kind of, oh, we know this person and we had these results against them before. But like at the same time, such changes can make in such a short space of time. So we wouldn't be thinking too much about the end goal, really. We're just kind of sticking to the process and sticking to the training we do and approach the races we would any other.
And when you left Irish soil the weekend to head to Munich for the Europeans, you have a training camp in Varese after that, then on to the World. So you're not home for the next couple of weeks. But talking about that training camp, how important is that, and how tough will a training camp be at this time of the year, considering the Worlds aren't that far away either?
Yeah, I guess the training camps would be kind of more intensive coming to this end of the season. So there'd be a lot more shorter kind of more race style pieces kind of preparing us for racing at the Worlds. So it would be intense, but at the same time, like there's so much pressure taken off you in terms of like, our meals are cooked for us. We're driven to training. We don't have to do any kind of minding ourselves as such. We just have to show up, go back to the hotel, get fed, and then just kind of you get optimal recovery in that sense. But so yeah, it really takes a weight off your shoulders in that sense. But yeah, no, it's good environment for some good training and a bit of sunshine.
Oh, fantastic. An exciting few weeks ahead, Emily. Thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck in Munich this week.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.